What's up guys, JV2017 here, and today I'm sharing my thoughts on the Hitman beta, which released earlier today. I contacted Square Enix a few weeks ago about covering the game before release, and they were kind enough to send me a code so I could share my thoughts here on my channel. So I've got a few hours in on the beta so far, and I've got to say I really dig it, and I wanted to share my thoughts with you all here today. One of the most important things for me when I'm playing a game is how does the game play? How are the mechanics? And I can say so far that the mechanics feel really solid. It's still about using the tools that you start with, in your missions, your loadout basically, or whatever you can find out in the environment to gather information and perform hits on targets. And nothing has changed about that. This is a, classic Hitman experience in that sense. You're going to be sneaking around, you're going to be, choking people, you're going to be stealing their outfits and disguises in order to get into harder to reach locations, maybe to get an advantage on your target, you're going to be hiding bodies. All of that is still in the game. That's part of the core experience, and nothing has changed from that standpoint. Something that immediately stood out to me was the UI, the user interface, how the text looks on the screen, the mini-map, all of that. It's very simplistic. There's not a lot of clutter on the screen, and I feel like in Absolution, the last Hitman game that IO released, it was a little cluttered. There's a little bit too much on the screen, my target was floating through the air and whatnot, and I feel like they took a more minimalistic, simplistic, non-obtrusive approach, and it feels really slick. There is kind of a mode you can go into. You'll see me throughout this gameplay. I'll click R1 because we're on PS4. It's a PS4 only beta, and you'll see that I can look through walls and look at targets, and that's a nice little tool to use, but it's very non-obtrusive. I really like how slick the UI feels. In terms of visuals, what we're seeing, graphical fidelity, this is running on the PlayStation 4, and that's the only platform right now that has the beta. I think PC's coming in a week or something like that, but I gotta say, in terms of lighting effects, actually what's on the screen, the way people are animated, the animations are rock solid. There's a lot of variety with NPCs, and this game stresses its depth and breadth. We've got a lot bigger sandbox areas to play around with to, pull off these assassinations, the contracts, the hits, whatever you want to call them. And I gotta say, I'm impressed with the level of detail so far. There's a lot of unique objects in the world, and the animations of the NPCs. The NPCs are so unique. You don't have cookie cutter, copies of NPCs. At least I haven't noticed so far. Maybe there are some, but the fact that I haven't noticed is already a good thing in my eyes. And so far the graphical fidelity I have been impressed with, and I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of other environments they can impress me with, Since we're going to be going all over the world performing these assassinations, they've got a lot of things to show off, and I'm looking forward to those things. At its best, the game runs at 60 frames per second on the PS4, but sometimes it'll dip to around 30. You'll see in this gameplay, at least sometimes it seems like it'll get a little, jittery, and that's, obviously a concern, but I think we can kind of excuse that since IO has a few weeks to kind of, polish the game before going gold, at least digitally. I don't know, since this is a digital release, that's something I'm about to talk about that I really like about the game. Maybe they have a little more time to polish the game before sending it off to certification so that people can actually buy the game and download it to their console. I'm not sure about that, but I think we can hopefully assume that they're going to polish the frame rate a little bit more. That's my only concern really so far with the game, but hopefully they can polish that and make it a lot more smooth for the release on March 11th. So you may be wondering what's different about this game, what makes it special, what sets this apart. Is this just more Hitman? And I would say for the most part it is just more Hitman. However, it seems like the story takes place near the beginning of Agent 47's career, at least from the prologue what I could tell, the beginning of his career with the agency. I believe it's the ICA and his handler Diana Burnwood, which he actually meets her, which is pretty cool if you're able to play the beta and play through the prologue, which I don't believe he had done before. But it just seems like they're trying to push this idea of more freedom, more creative freedom. You're able to do more things. There's a lot more methods to each assassination, and the sandbox is a lot bigger. And so they want to provide these tools and really allow the player to choose their path, to assassination. But if we're being honest, that's all just improving on what Hitman has already done. Just bigger, better, whatever. That's pretty much a sequel. That's what you get. However, I think the real defining difference here is the connectivity. The fact that we're going to be connected, through the servers and have certain targets and hits that are time-based, which is going to be very cool. And also they have this whole model that I'm about to go into that I really enjoy. The fact that it's delivered digitally is really awesome. I personally have not bought a physical game disc for a video game in like 3 years. It's been a really long time since I've gone out and bought a game. I just download them digitally, and and Square Enix are actually opting to deliver this digitally first and not give you a physical copy, which is an interesting model. I want to see more of this, and I think maybe it's just the Trailblazer effect. I want more games to start trying this, but the fact that they're doing this does make me a lot more interested in the game. Not only is the game just digital, at least at first is what they're saying, it's $60 up front, so it's a full retail release for the full retail price, and you're going to get new locations and contracts released at regular intervals throughout 2016. So when you first buy this game on March 11th, if you're going to buy it, you're going to have a certain set of missions, and it may not feel like a full-fledged $60 experience. And I think that's going to be, the source of consumer backlash. Like, I'm not sure how the average consumer will react to that. It's kind of like a season pass idea, but you're not paying the extra. So, for example, with, let's just say Batman Arkham Knight, that's the game that popped into my head. You pay $60 and then you pay for a $50 season pass for more content over the next year, or however much content they're willing to provide. That's $110. However, with this game, you're paying $60. You may get less out of the initial experience, but in the end, you're going to get more and more content for just your $60. So I think a big challenge for IO and Square Enix is to stay relevant. How are they going to stay relevant? How are they going to justify that people pay $60 up front and then keep receiving this content? The content is going to have to be interesting. It's going to have to keep evolving, keeping, people's interest. That's the real challenge. They've also promised regular content additions in addition to those big ones. So they're talking about live targets, which is this idea that there's one target in a certain location that they've released so far, and that target, that hit, assassination contract only lasts for like 48 hours. And if you're able to take out that target in 48 hours, it'll never come back. If you miss it, you can't get it back. But if you do take it out, you'll be rewarded greatly for that. And so I think that's an awesome idea. That really does pull me in, at least encouraging, me to stay active with the game. And even if I put the game down because a new big game releases, I hear about this contract and I want to hop back on and perform that hit. The thing is, I may not be like everyone else. I mean, this is my opinion. I'm sharing my thoughts on the game and, the model, how successful it might be. Some people might want to buy the $60 game, be able to do all of that in the beginning and not, have to wait around. And so that's going to be the challenge, I think, again, for this game to be successful. As with most of the games I'm interested in, I'm really rooting for this model. I hope that this game is successful because I really dig the gameplay so far, and I like the concept of keeping me interested over an extended period of time. I think it's interesting, and I also like the fact that they're abandoning the season pass, which is really just grinding more money out of consumers. And so I really do hope that this catches on, companies see the success of this and start going with more of this type of model. We'll just have to see how, the reaction is from everyone else. That's all I have to share with you guys about the Hitman beta. Again, I'm very excited to play the full game. It's something I'm going to put my $60 down for, and I just wanted to share my thoughts with you guys, and I want to know what you guys think about this so far from watching this video or whatever else you've seen. Are you confident in this game? Are you gonna play this game? Do you plan on playing it? Do you plan on not playing it? Share all of it in the comments below. Also, please let me know with a like or, a comment, do you want to see more of this on my channel? I don't have a lot of time with the beta since it is timed, but I certainly can record a lot of this and kind of, release it over a certain amount of time. Or I could just do some traditional Let's Play gameplay walkthrough kind of content over on my second channel. Let me know if you guys want to see more of this game in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you next time. Peace.